All right, so let's talk about Ryan Clark, ESPN, and the layoffs going on right now. So, as a lot of people may know, Disney, who owns ESPN, bought the NFL network. And when you do something like that, you get a lot of job redundancies because you have people who are analysts on one network doing the same thing on this other network, and people got to go. So, that is what it is, and that's kind of why this is happening. But at the same time, I think the way Ryan was let go, and just for a side note, I know there's some reporting that he may be back with ESPN in some other capacity, but either way, I feel like the way that he was notified mid broadcast that he was being laid off is very intentional. And the reporting about the news leaking with a right wing blog, outlet, whatever, that's very intentional because let's not forget about the discourse around Ryan Clark from people like Jason Whitlock, all over the media, who love to point out how he quote unquote race baits when he's simply talking about black issues and trying to bring a light to black issues and pointing out obvious things, but the people who don't want to have those conversations are the ones who like to call him out for race baiting. Even Marcellus Wiley is guilty of this, and I know he has been going through his things and he's also been commenting on this, but he's also guilty of this narrative of him race baiting. So when you have somebody like Ryan Clark at such a prominent network like ESPN, who historically doesn't have a great record with dissent or, doing anything outside of the program, it's not a surprise that Ryan Clark would be humiliated like this with this layoff because they could have absolutely told him before the broadcast or after. But for him to have to go through it this way, for me, feels very intentional. Like they wanted to humiliate him. Because it's also not a coincidence that his interaction with Pete Schrager went viral as that was happening. As see, well, it came off as, who does this black guy think he is talking to this white guy like this? And we're like, oh, just belittle me like that. Like that was such a moment of white fragility on Schrager's case. And I mean, I know he apologized to him, and and this was like a year ago. So that is what it is. But the fact that that went viral at that time is very telling. So I don't think it's an accident by any means that he was let go like this, because you have this discourse that makes him look like, oh well, see, he had it coming. And when you see the kind of work that he does with the pivot, where he's being very conscientious of social issues, speaking out on things that are happening, whether it be with ICE or, police violence or whatever the case is, he has very balanced takes on these things. And they don't like that because they get a lot of their money from the people who support that. So, what do you do when you have that thorn that's just a thorn in your side? You got to get rid of it. So, it's not none of this is an accident. I mean, of all the on-air talent that could be laid off, like he shouldn't be at that level. Like he should be above that. This guy led you guys to two Emmys, one of your programs to two Emmys that had never had that distinction before. He contributed to that heavily. So for him to be let go in this manner, and the juxtaposition of Pat McAfee being elevated to a $60 million a year contract, and McAfee does great work for the kind of audience that he has, but he also is very right leaning in his. I mean, that's probably who he is, and that's fine. Like, I have no issue with that. Like, he's who he is, and he deserves the success because he be working. But it's not an accident that Clark had back and forth with him. And I know there's some reporting that's talking about McAfee insisting that Clark get let go. I don't know if that's true. That's speculation. I don't know. But I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's an accident that things are happening this way. And if Clark is coming back and he's essentially demoted to one of the other ESPN lower networks and he's not on First Take and all these bigger shows anymore, like it'll be a flex of Pat McAfee as you see more of him on every ESPN broadcast. Like I can't really. I mean, I'll watch clips on YouTube or whatever, but like in terms of programming, it's you either watching Stephen A. or you watching Pat McAfee, and to me, they're two sides of the same coin, and you're not getting much from them, which is what the bosses want. They don't want y'all to think for real. They don't want you to question anything. They don't want real commentary on real issues. They don't want you to care about black people for real. They just want you to like talk about how we entertain them and all that. So it's not an accident the way all this stuff is playing out. So pay attention. Pay attention. Because it doesn't even have to be one of us. Look what they did to Colbert. You see what I'm saying? Like anybody who's critical of what's going on right now, they're getting you out of here. That's why Don Lemon has to do his own thing. That's why most of these prominent black news people or people in sports as well, Jamel Hills, that's why you don't see them on these big networks anymore. There's a reason why people are being phased out of these positions and being replaced with people who are entertaining, but they're also not giving you anything else. So don't let that get by you. It's very intentional what's going on right now. So I'm gonna wrap this with shout out to Ryan Clark. He's gonna be fine. He has the pivot. ESPN may have him back. Who knows? I don't know. But either way, he's gonna be all right. He's a hustler. He's great at what he does, and I just hope that people wake up to what's going on out here because it's getting spooky.